What's up, everybody? It's Gino coming at you to break down UFC 288, Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. Super excited for this card. Going to try to give you some good DraftKings play as well as some betting angles. Before I get started, hit the channel with a subscribe, like this video, and then at the end of it, leave me something. Tell me who your favorite fighter. Tell me which fight you really like that I broke down. I don't even care. Leave me a letter. Let's get that algorithm going. That's really what we need to get going to grow this channel. One more thing. If you are not, follow my free article on the DFS Army. It's completely free. I gave away the dog pound parlay last week, which was Pavlovich Silva, hit for like plus 475. It was a nice little payout. But let's go ahead and get started. So first we're going to start with the main event. We got Henry Cejudo versus Aljamain Sterling. I'm excited for this fight. I'm going to lean towards Cejudo. At this time, it's even money. It'll be interesting to see where the lines go. I really think if you look at Cejudo, he actually has sneaky knockdown ability. And we all know he's good. He's the Olympic champ, UFC champ, double champ. I mean, he's great. And he retired. And I don't think he's stupid. I think he sees something in Aljo that he knows he can exploit, and I think he is coming back for a reason. Now, you've got Aljo, who's very good himself. I can't take much away from him. And he also scores well on DraftKings. But I don't know. I just think the value's there for Cejudo, but this is a hard one to call, guys. I'm going to go ahead and go all in. I'm not betting it, but I'm picking Cejudo with my fingers crossed. Next one, I have Belal Muhammad versus Gilbert Burns. Now that they've got a 5-round fight, I'm very confident in my pick towards Belal because I think that cardio over time, I went back and watched the Chimaev fight. I think Chimaev gassed him, got a little tired early. He came out aggressive. I think Belal's going to I think he's going to push that wrestling pace, but I don't think he's going to come out, swinging. It's not his style. He scored 102, 107, and 132 on DraftKings, so he's a solid play. I thought he showed a lot against Sean Brady. He looked even more improved. I think the Khabib camp got him better. But let's not discount Gilbert Burns, okay? Gilbert Burns has done a great job. But, I argue that his best win is a loss to Chimaev because, no disrespect. But game bred, I think we're past that. I don't think it's the same thing we're saying about Colby Covington. That's not really a credible win for him to be fighting for the heavyweight belt. Or for the, not heavyweight belt, what am I thinking? But for the belt. So I do think Burns loses this, but I think this is another close fight. But I'm going to be heavy on Belal. I don't like the ceiling of Burns. I don't really see him going over 100 points. And I see people being way too invested in him. So it's a nice spot to get leverage in. Jessica Andrade versus Zenan Yan. The fight is minus 135 to go to decision. Yan is a decision fighter. She's plus 225 to get a decision win. Plus 1,100 to get a KO TKO. So that tells you the difference. She's fighting Andrade, though. I usually go for the dogs, but I think Andrade's pretty good. She's 3-3. She fights pretty good opponents. I liked her round 1 wins over Calvillo and Lemos. She's one of these losses actually was grappling, and so I think she sees her deficit, especially after, I think even besides that, because that was before, I think the Aaron Blanchfield loss, I bet she went to camp and worked on it. So with that being said, I really like her to get the win here. It's fine if it goes to decision. I think she'll win that, but I think she could get a finish here. So I do like Andrade, and I'm going to be invested in both because I think this is a female fight that you can get leverage with. Kron Gracie versus Charles Jourdain. I'm going to go ahead and pull the trigger. Let's go with the dog here, Kron Gracie. I love these unknown guys, right? You got a Kron Gracie who is 5-0 with all submissions. Dang. So that's pretty good. He, in the loss, he showed he can go the distance. So, while he's finishing people, that's always a question. And he's not young. He's 34 years old. I think he's experienced. I just think he's needed a shot, and I think this is his shot. He did lose to Cub Swanson at one point, but I just think he's steadily improved since then. And he's fighting a Charles Jourdain who I really just He hasn't showed me a whole bunch, but I mean, I will look at his ceiling on DraftKings. He scores pretty consistently and wins 92, 91, 117. He's 2-3 over his last 5. He's got a round 1 submission over Venata, but to come in minus 200 against a guy we really don't know that showed pretty well over time, I just think that Kron Gracie's a good dog play in this spot. Mavzar Evloev versus Diego Lopez. This is a late ad for Lopez. I think they're just giving somebody to feed to Evloev. I'm going to go Evloev, and he's a core play because he can he could just take this guy down, accumulate volume, smash his way to a high-scoring decision. He scored 129, 138, 92, and 83 points in his last 4 wins. I just see him smashing here. Drew Dober versus Matt Frevola. It's very similar fighters, and Drew Dober is fighting a guy in Frevola who needs that knockout to get the win, probably. I would say that's his best path of victory. The under is set at 1.5, but he's fighting a guy in Dober who's got a great chin. Like, you're not just going to come in and knock him out. He has knocked out McKinney. I hate to do this, but he's knocked out McKinney while Frevola's been knocked out by McKinney. He's fought good competition. Dober's he's a good fighter. I think he fights, he's a tough dude. He's really entertaining, and I'm excited for the fight. So with that being said, I'm not saying Frevola is completely out of this, but I'm going to be heavier on Dober. But the fight itself I'm going to be invested in because I see it scoring well either way. Because if Frevola can land the finish and get the win, I see him scoring well at 7,000. Devin Clark versus Nchukwu. Sorry, we had that in the way. Devin Clark is plus 175. He's minus 210. But you got it. Nchukwu is minus 210, but he's $9,000. He's 2-2 over his last 4. He has several finishes over his career. He did lose a submission to Paul Craig, but if you make one mistake, that's Craig can get you. He's fighting a Devin Clark who I don't really like that much. They call him the Bear. He's primarily a decision fighter. I know there's arguments that he'll push it up against the cage, but I think Nchukwu is going to hit those hands, keep him off him, and I think he could land a finish or get a nice little decision win here. But I'm going to be below the field on both because I don't see either guy really scoring well. Next, we have Chaos Williams versus Bedoya. I don't even know who that guy is, really. Tried to watch him a little bit. Didn't really show me much. I think Chaos Williams is going to come through and smash this dude, but he is 9,500. So I'm going to be interested to see the ownership before I go hard on him because I may go below the field to get some leverage at 9,500 because you got to really score well at that price. But he is going to smash in that spot. Marina Rodriguez versus Verna Jandiroba. I'm going Jandiroba. I think Jandiroba's strength is going to overpower Rodriguez. I think she's going to get some takedowns. I think she's going to take it to the ground, control it. What does that tell us? Accumulating control time, accumulating takedowns, accumulating some strikes. That's going to score well for a $7,700 fighter. She's 3-2, and it's women's MMA. One of her losses was in grappling, not actual UFC or MMA. She's fighting Rodriguez, though, who's 4-1. She's minus 165 for a reason, but she's $8,500, which isn't bad. She was 12-0-2 prior to losing her split to Esparza. She scored 61, 88, and 85 points. So I don't even see her scoring well in a win, so I'm going to go Jandiroba, and it's going to go Jandiroba or pass, because I think if the favorite hits, I don't see her being in the optimal lineup. Parker Porter versus Braxton Smith. This is another one. You got Braxton Smith who's coming in. He's relatively unknown. He's fighting a guy in Parker Porter who lost a round 1 KO to Tafa. He lost to Almeida round 1. But look at those guys. Who has Braxton Smith fought? Nobody. He's jacked. He's got all round 1 finishes. So these guys are always live for a knockout. So I'm going to be invested, but I just think Porter just shows the guy he's in the big leagues. But I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be wrong. Ikram Aliskerov versus Phil Hawes. So I don't love Phil Hawes. He's a banger. He'll stand and bang with you. He's got good scores on DraftKings. He's $7,100. He's scored 134, 94, 96, and 127 over his last 4 wins, so he can score well. He's fighting Aliskerov, who recently landed a round 1 Kimura win on the Dana White Contestant Series. He's got versatile finishing abilities. He can land KOs, TKOs, also land those Kimuras. submissions. So I will say I like him a lot. I'm going to be heavy on the fight, though, because you look at either guy, they got great ceilings. Hawes is always live for a knockout. Those powerful dudes are always scary to bet against. So I am not going to touch it betting, but I do like Aliskerov, but I'm going to be heavy in the fight in general. Zumagulov versus Estevam. Anybody seen Zumagulov's haircut? Looking like the Beatles out there. But he's 1-5 in his last 6, but let's take a deeper look at that before we just write him off. He has split decision losses to Charles Jourdain and Jeff Molina, which both I think he should have won. He's got a round 1 TKO loss to Kopp. I mean, there ain't no getting out of that. He's got a win against a 0-4 Jerome Rivera. So there's a lot of question marks there, but I mean, he has fought some opponents. He doesn't have much volume in general, but he is live for a submission always, and he's coming in with more experience than the dog. The dog really hasn't fought a whole bunch of guys. It's supposed to be a fight to propel him, but it's also a gatekeeper fight. I mean, Zumugulov's fought good dudes. I think that this could be a step up, shell shock, and Zumagulov could land a victory. Why not? Plus 125. Let's go with the experience. Next, we have Joseph Holmes versus Rivera. While we're doing that, now let's go ahead and go Holmes. All right. So another dog. He's plus 175. He's 1-2 in the UFC. He lost to Park round 2 choke. He lost to Pickett decision loss. He typically gets finishes. He does have submission ability, wrestling potential, but not a very good amount. He's fighting a Ribeiro who's 0-1 in the UFC. So, I mean, yeah, he lost to Al-Hassan, but prior to the loss, he primarily round 1 finishes. But he did get the 5th round win in a future MMA, so, I mean, he can go the distance. He's fighting someone who's shown to have a good chin, so he's not just somebody who's going to get knocked out. Also, Holmes has landed 112 in his submission win over Amedovski. So I'm just going to go with the value here. I think at plus 175, Holmes is a value. I'm going to bet him, and I like him at $7,300. All right, guys. Hey, I tried to get it to you as quick as possible. I know we're all busy. Hit the video with a like. Subscribe to the channel. If you stuck around, give yourself a hand. I appreciate you. And you're one of the real ones. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate it. Hit me up. If you got any questions, let me know. I'm on Twitter at TheRealGC9. I'm also in Discord on the DFS Army. If you haven't joined, hit that up. Use the promo code Gino, 10% off for life. DFL Gino. Use the promo code DFL Gino. All right. Hey, guys, appreciate it. Good luck this weekend.